Now it's CSL, Charlotte Sports Live.
Right now on Charlotte Sports Live, Duke is heading back to the Sweet 16, making short work of the Baylor Bears and a former teammate in the process.
And NASCAR had plenty of company in South Beach today. The Hornets were there as well. Could LaMelo Ball heat up on South Beach?
And with that, we welcome you inside Charlotte Sports Live. An exciting night here. Gabe McDonald alongside Mike Cossette. We are with you for the next hour. And Mike, this is truly one of the best sports weekends of the year.
What didn't happen today? We got so much NCAA tournament stuff to get to on both the men's and women's sides. There's also some hot mic comments from one coach in Raleigh you have to hear. Plus, we alluded to it, both the Hornets and the Cup Series in Miami today. But you know, we're starting with top seed Duke facing another test in Raleigh this afternoon.
Absolutely. The freshman phenom Cooper Flagg and the Blue Devils taking on the Baylor Bears. Duke looking to get to the Sweet 16 for the third time in the last 4 years. And the Bears gave Duke all they could handle early on. Norcat Omier with the first 6 points for Baylor on the afternoon. He would go for 15 and 9. Then later in the half, Duke just a 2-point lead. Rather, Langston Love finds some room for a good look. He knocks down the triple from the top of the key. Baylor in front by 1 with under 8 to go in the first half. But after that, Duke would go on quite the run. Just over 2 to go. Flagg off the screen, puts up the triple and knocks it down. Blue Devils now in front by double digits. Then just over a minute later, it's time for takeoff. Flagg off the lob from Sion James finishes the alley-oop with a two-hand jam. Duke closes the half on a 12-0 run. Flagg's parents loving it in the stands as the Blue Devils have all the momentum heading into the locker room. And that momentum would carry over into the second half. That's when we see the vet Tyrese Proctor take over, going to work on the big man Omier, finds some room near the elbow, gets that mid-range jumper to go, and he was just getting started. Under 8 to go now. Proctor match up with Omier once again, makes him pay once again. Buries that triple there. Blue Devils now in front by 20. Just over a minute later, Proctor still with the hot hand, lets it fly from deep from the opposite side of the court. His 5th of 7 threes on the afternoon as he goes for a game-high 25 points. Proctor, truly the difference maker in this one as he leads Duke to an 89-66 victory to advance to the Sweet 16. Our own Joey Ellis took in all of the action at the Lenovo Center in Raleigh and has more.
Yeah, guys, 2 games, 2 just dominant outings so far from Jon Scheyer's top-seeded Duke Blue Devils so far in this NCAA tournament. That 12-0 run to end the first half was everything the Blue Devils needed before pouring it on and pulling away in the second half. But how about Tyrese Proctor's offensive play of late? The junior guard has been scorching it the past 3 games. A game-best 25 points tonight, 7 3-pointers to lead the way for Duke as the Blue Devils roll again today and storm back into the second weekend for the second straight season.
Tyrese, I mean, look, it's the shots. I mean, big-time shot making. But I think he's just been competitive and great leader, setting the tone every day with what we're doing. And so really proud of this win.
I think we're just playing together. I mean, that's the main thing. We're playing together both defensively and offensively, and I feel like when we play like that, we're the best team in the country.
So it was Proctor leading the way offensively, but how about the production from this talented Duke freshman trio of Cooper Flagg, Kon Knueppel, and Kaman Malowacz? 38 combined points between those 3 freshmen. Really not much of a choice but to quickly adapt to the rather lofty expectations this program has when it comes to the NCAA tournament, but also at the same time, these guys making sure to embrace what this team has done to this point of the season.
Yeah, I mean, you don't take it for granted getting to the second weekend. It's something that only half or a quarter of the teams can do. So we will really enjoy it today and then probably move on and get ready for next weekend.
Mason and Tyrese, who have that tournament experience, have been huge for us. Just being the strong face leaders. I mean, Sion too, even though he hasn't been in the tournament before, but just him, you know, him being in his 5th year, just they have such strong faces and they're really our leaders of just keeping us together and taking us where we want to go.
Sweet 16 sounds great. We know it's a quick turnaround, but we're going to enjoy this one tonight and then get back to it.
So that is now 3 Sweet 16 appearances in the past 4 seasons for this Blue Devils program. And who knows, we may have seen both national championship participants today here in one site with top-seeded Florida in the earlier game before Duke played after them. The Blue Devils, though, feeling good but also not getting ahead of themselves. They know there's a lot more work to be done, and that starts next weekend in the Sweet 16. But for now, here in Raleigh, for Charlotte Sports Live, I'm Joey Ellis.
Appreciate it, Joey. So obviously, once again, another dominant run for this team. I think, you know, you're seeing obviously a lot of the stars come alive too, but you're truly seeing the depth that this team has because we talk all about the freshmen, guys like Malowacz, Cooper Flagg, of course. But, hey, when it's the veteran Tyrese Proctor, it's always helpful to have those guys that have been there and done that in March, because you got teams full of freshmen. Sometimes they're able to get it done, but a lot of the times you need that veteran presence, and Tyrese Proctor's certainly been showing up these past couple games, too.
And this is why I think Duke is, for me, as much of a lock in an NCAA tournament as you could possibly get to go to the final game as possible. There's just so many guys that could step up. Proctor, 7 of 8 from threes. Yeah. Jon Scheyer was so emotional afterwards because if you know Proctor's backstory, his career has not gone according to what everyone thought it was going to go.
It was going to be another one-and-done kind of guy.
And Scheyer was basically imploring NBA teams, like, if you do not want to consider this guy, you are making a mistake for this very reason. The guy steps up and makes big-time shots. I got a trivia question for you. How many turnovers do you think Duke had this entire weekend?
Probably about, if I had to guess, maybe like 8 over these 2 games.
That's exactly what it was.
I would say,
They had 2 the first game and 6 the second game.
Take care of the ball.
That is so great. If you're Scheyer, you have just got to be so happy with the team because, hey, they got punched in the mouth a little bit today, but they never panicked. They just played Duke basketball, and the result's another win.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the team that we've seen all year long, being able to come up in big moments and really show, even when you don't have certain guys that are on point, like Con Knippel didn't have his best game, but you're having guys that can pick up the slack. And like you said, taking care of the basketball, definitely key this time of year, because sometimes, the lights get a little bright in March. Teams sometimes come out a little sloppy, come out a little slow, but this Duke team, even, without a 100% Cooper Flagg the last game, trying to ease in there and kind of get his legs under him, he's still showing you why he's the best player in the country. And this is truly the best team in the country right now as it stands.
Man, oh man, I would not be a team wanting to face them going forward.
Because Oregon and Arizona, good luck.
Yeah, that's all I can win. You're right. All right, before Duke and Baylor tipped off in Raleigh, 1-seed Florida and 8-seed UConn took the floor at the Lenovo Center. The Gators beat the Huskies in a thriller. We're going to have more on that in our QC Crown. But as UConn coaches and players walked off the floor, our Joey Ellis was nearby as head coach Dan Hurley had a message for the Baylor Bears as both teams crossed paths in the tunnel that has since gone viral. Take a listen. There's more to this footage that Charlotte Sports Live took. Coming up at 11 o'clock, you're going to hear about the incident that followed in the tunnel because of this video. All right, switching to women's hoops, 2-seed Duke playing its second-round game without leading scorer Toby Fournier. She was out because of an illness against 10-seed Oregon. In her absence, Ashlyn Jackson stepped up. She scored 20. Duke was up 6 after that long third-quarter 3. Later in the quarter, Ducks would start paddling back. Former Tar Heel Deja Kelly taking control. She too had 20. Duke was up 5 going into the fourth. That's when it got really scary. Filipina Shea out of the post. She had 14. Blue Devils lead cut to 1 after the free throw. Under 2 to play, it's Duke up 4. They're looking for the knockout blow, and they'd get it there. Action Jackson, corner pocket. Her 5th 3. Duke takes it 59-53. The Blue Devils moving on to the Sweet 16.
Good night from Durham. Well, down in Columbia, reigning champs and top seed South Carolina hosting 9-seed Indiana in the round of 32 earlier this afternoon. Hoosiers, they certainly gave the Gamecocks quite the fight early on, midway through the second. It's a Lily Meister going to work in the post, getting that bucket to go. Indiana with its largest lead of the game up 8. But back comes Carolina. We're now tied at 21 just before the half. Sanaya Fagan drives and gets 2 points of her own. Gamecocks back in front by 2. However, they trail by 1 at the break. Dawn Staley quick to get her squad to the locker room to make some adjustments, and it's safe to say the ladies locked in. Chloe Kitts with that 3 from the top of the key. She had 10 points and 11 boards. Gamecocks now in front by 8. Later in the third, Raven Johnson finding a wide open Bree Hall in the corner. Hall, the corner trade, nothing but net. And then we have a Ply sighting at Colonial Life Arena, looking like the Ritz-Carlton out there. He's loving it as Carolina goes in front by 12, and that'd be just enough cushion for the Gamecocks. They hold on to get it done, 64-53 over Indiana. They're headed to the Sweet 16 for the 11th tournament in a row. And South Carolina, obviously, reigning champions for a reason. They had a tough test today. Indiana punched them in the mouth, similar to what we saw in that Duke game as well. But the best teams always show up in March. They're looking solid right now, but there's a lot of talent in this tournament. You look at UCLA, you look at USC, we're going to see in action tomorrow. Even UConn as well. You can never count them out with Gino. There's a lot of star power, and there's been a lot of really good games. And Duke, like you mentioned, they're no slouch either. They're looking good. They had a tough challenge today, but also showing up too.
They're down their top scorer now. To the Indiana-USC game, a little bit of backstory. Yesterday, Indiana was given a scouting report to the media, and they sort of implied that with the graduating players that USC lost, they did not think that they were as strong of a Gamecock team as the one they played last year that they lost to. All I can say is in coaching and watching sports, you never want to do that. You never want to say.
Michael Jordan fashion, they took that personally.
They took that personally. I remember seeing this in high school one time, and just the other team just went nuts on the other
Always gotta
squad.
respect your opponent.
Just saying, oh, you don't think we're as good? Oh, here's another touchdown for you. Here's
Exactly.
another basket for you. And that's exactly what they did today. That third quarter for USC was as good as it gets.
took off.
They had 26 points, which was one more than they had in the entire first half. They shot 69% from the field.
They're looking good. They're a
looking
well-oiled
good.
machine. And, hey, there's going to be a lot of good games tomorrow as well. The women's tournament's certainly heating up, too.
All right, to a team that's not looking good. As if we needed another reason to feel down about the Hornets, we got one today. It was months in the making, but now at 18-53, it's finally official. Charlotte has been eliminated from the playoffs. Hornets experiencing another setback today at Miami. Early on, though, it was the Mark Williams show. First quarter, he tells Andrew Wiggins, get out of town. Then, on the very next Hornet possession, it's Mark Williams doing damage on the break off the pass from Tijan Salon.
Okay.
Mark had 6 points in the first 14 for the game. Hornets led by 6 after 1. Second quarter, that lead continued to grow. There's LaMelo Ball with a 3. Melo had 18, Charlotte now up 7. A bit later, Melo getting others involved. It's the Rook, Salon. Hornets now leading by double figures. They lead by as many as 12. From there, though, all heat. They'd outscore Charlotte 28-6 the rest of the quarter. When the dust settled, Hornets went into the locker room down 10. And things did not get much better in the second half. Wiggins got hot, like real hot. 42 points hot. 6 of 8 from deep as Charlotte goes down to Miami 122-105. He'd snap a 10-game losing streak while the Hornets go down for the 4th time in 5 games.
Thought that good defensive activity kind of got us going offensively as well, and we trust the pass. We knocked down some shots, and then got to give them credit. They were a little desperate on the losing streak, and they came out and they kind of stepped up their intensity. And I thought that we had too many possessions there where we just turned it over and allowed them to find their rhythm.
Here's a fun stat. Well, not fun for Charles Lee.
True.
This is the second time this year Charlotte led by at least 12. And then still at one point in the game trailed by 20+ and would go on to lose.
Yeah, it's tough when you think about it. It's kind of just been the story of the season. You think about just the injuries they've had to deal with, some of the up and downs. You got guys coming in and out of the lineup on different 10-day contracts. It's just hard to build that cohesion this time of year, but you're still able to see some guys grow in their roles. A guy like Nick Smith Jr. has been in double figures a lot of this stretch recently.
He was the leading scorer today.
Yeah,
not seen in the salary, Nick.
True, but he's a guy, too, that's been, you look at coming in, still trying to find his way, but still getting consistent down the stretch. So at this time of the year when, the playoffs are obviously out of reach, you're trying to see guys that can, you can develop the culture around too, but also guys that can be solid pieces going forward.
Yeah, that's what we came to at this point. We're saying the same stuff over and over again, but man, oh man, we still got a little ways to go. Hornets back to it on Tuesday against Orlando Magic, which should make our producer Joey Ellis very happy. He will be at the game.
Absolutely.
Front row, or so I've heard.
Always a fun Tuesday to see the Magic get down. Well, coming up, we stay in Miami for today's Cup Series race, the Straight Talk Wireless 400. Who would bring the heat and speed to the racetrack? Find out coming up.
And in quick six, should the women's tournament move to first and second round games to neutral sites like the men? We're going to debate coming up.
Back on TSL, NASCAR down in the 305 this weekend for the Straight Talk Wireless 400. Alex Bowman of Hendrick Motorsports in the 48, leading the field to green at Homestead. Ryan Blaney, he would start P6. A dominant run in the opening stage would give him some critical points. He takes stage 1 for a second stage victory in 2025. Blaney now with a stage win at both races in Florida so far this year. On stage 2, as we see Denny Hamlin and Kyle Larson both become major threats in the race. The 5 and 11 side by side out of turn 4, but Hamlin with a great run down the front stretch to just get by Larson across the line. Stage win number 1 for Hamlin on the year. Great battle by 2 of the best. Set up a thrilling final stage at Homestead. There's over 90 to go. Bubba Wallace starting to make up some ground. He clears Larson going into the backstretch to take the lead. Wallace led 56 laps this afternoon. However, the man that led the most laps at Homestead had an early exit. Ryan Blaney with an engine failure with 60 laps to go. A tough break for him, his 3rd consecutive DNF. With over 30 laps to go now, Miami. Wallace still holding on to the lead, riding the wall. Bowman goes low into turn 4. He's able to pass him an inch closer to victory. That was until he ran into the man he calls the baddest dude on earth, his own teammate, Kyle Larson. Bowman goes into the turn 4 wall. With 7 to go, Larson able to clear him for the lead and go on to victory at Homestead. Kyle Larson a winner for the first time in 2025 and 30th time in his Cup Series career. Next, our reporter Jeff Patterson caught up with Larson in victory lane after the win at Homestead.
Great weekend for you, starting with the truck race on Friday night. Dominant performance yesterday till the late race caution, then today. What's it been like for you?
Yeah, it's just been a fun weekend. Obviously, wish I could have gotten that win last night, but it's part of racing. But yeah, just a strong weekend. Today's race was just super tough and challenging, and just had to keep fighting, never give up, keep our heads in it, and ultimately we got a long run there at the end, and it paid off.
I mean, you had to fight your way through that. You get a hole in the side of the Chevy here from that pit accident. Tell me about that. Did you have any concern coming out of pit row? Is it going to affect the performance?
Yeah, I mean, you never know. I'm glad you got me there and not in the wheel, because that probably would have, hurt our day a lot, but. Yeah, no, our car's got a lot of battle scars on it. Looks like we've been at Bowman Gray or Martinsville already with it. So, yeah, but just proud of the team. Proud of everybody for doing a great job today. Pit crew was awesome. So yeah, just a challenging win, probably one of the coolest ones of my Cup career to this point, and yeah, just happy to get it.
Joey Logano yesterday told me he called it the Larson line. Have you figured out a way around this racetrack that others aren't seeing or doing?
No, I mean, they do it. They try it. I feel like they can go same speed as me, I feel like, but it's just that final kind of 25% of the race where when you start to slide a lot, I can just have a little bit more comfort up there and can just do a little bit better job. But there's other lanes that they run that I can't run either. So, it's just that line works out for me, and, just try to commit to it, and then you hope it pays off.
I mean, I'm looking at the side of the Chevy on that side. You're up against the safer barrier more than one time, and yet you still manage to maintain speed. Is that just you feel comfortable up there?
Yeah, I mean, you could go look at the right side of everybody's race card. I'm sure there's not one that doesn't have a scuff on it. So, yeah, just... I don't know, these cars are really tough. You wouldn't be able to do that in the truck or the Xfinity car, but the Cup cars, the Next Gen car is really, really durable. So, yeah, I mean, I think I hit the wall on lap 2 because I was so tight and hit it pretty hard. But, yeah, I hit it way too many times there that last run, but still, like I said, I had to stay committed to it because I knew that was my strength.
And then finally, let me just wrap up by that was one of the coolest moments ever, seeing him come out of the car at the end. What was that like for you and him?
Yeah, it's awesome. Another boys' weekend here at Homestead. They got the lake or the pond, whatever you want to call it, and he has a great time fishing, so he wanted to come here, and yeah, it's cool to get a couple wins with him at the track.
From a quick sport to quick six, our favorite segment of the night, we got meteorologist Andrew Brightman, our Sunday favorite, joining us for the fun like always. Andrew, you ready?
When I came out of the womb, I was ready, Gabe. Ask my mama, she'll tell you.
Well, let's go ahead and get to it. Mike, you were up first.
No.
With Duke's win today, do you think there's a team out there right now who can challenge them in the big dance?
I honestly, I mean, there's so much to play. I think Michigan State, if they make it this far, I thought St. John's would be a team that would give them a game, but St. John's is gone, so it's so tough to tell. The only thing I'm certain about is that they will be playing in the championship.
Absolutely. All right, Andrew, Charlotte Knights open up the season this week. What are your must-have ballpark menu items?
I'm cruising over to section 112 to the barbecue stand. A nice little pulled pork sandwich, a little mac and cheese side. I might be going to the bathroom about 10 to 15 minutes later, but it sounds really, really good here over at the ballpark. That's how I want to get started with.
Andrew Brightman off to a hot start here in quick six. All right, Mike, do you think we will see a long playoff run from Charlotte FC, or is it too early to tell?
Hey, they are 3-0 at home. They're looking unbeatable at the Bank, the Fortress. Look, it's too early to tell, but right now, I think if they have home field edge in the playoffs, it could very well be in the cards.
Looks solid so far. A lot of guys can score from a lot of different areas. All right, let's see what kind of answer we get on this one, Andrew. You're back up. Should the NCAA women's tournament play first, excuse me, should they play first and second round games at neutral sites like the men in their tournament?
I was thinking about this. I actually kind of like what they're doing. It's not too dissimilar from the college football playoff where they have sort of the play-in games, those first 2 games at the home stadiums. I kind of like this idea, more of a reward for the teams for being good enough, maybe winning the conference tourney and getting that high seed.
Yeah, that's a solid answer. All right, Mike, which upset, if any, did you get right on your bracket, like my McNeese Cowboys or something?
So I had Arkansas over Kansas. That one, not a huge upset.
I mean, but it's a 10-7 seed-wise.
To me, it was big because Cal struggles getting out of the first round, and here he's done it. And not only has he gotten out of the first round, he's got out of the second round, too. So, my goodness gracious. Hopefully they get to meet up with Kentucky at some point.
That would be quite the matchup for sure. All right, Andrew, how much riz for our viewers out there does McNeese's manager, who soon will be at NC State, Amir Al-Rakan, have
Well, not enough Riz for them to win the game, unfortunately. I love what he was rocking with the boom box, the outfit, the warm-up jacket, but unfortunately, Purdue saw that and was like, yeah, cool, we'll take the trip to the Sweet 16.
Hey, but still, Will Wade going up to NC State. We might see some of that next year up there in Raleigh. Well, up next, App State football is back to work up in Boone. We'll take it to spring practice with the Mountaineers. It's coming up next right here on Charlotte Sports Live.
Regardless of what tournament you're in, it's always good to be playing in March. Queens is. They're alive and well on their first ever college basketball invitational. Earl's taking care of business in first round play today in Daytona against North Arizona. First half, Malcolm Wilson going up high for the jam. It was Queens by 4 going into the locker room. Start of the second, Chris Ashby catching fire. He had 3 threes to open up the half. At one point, the Royals led by 21. Ashby scored 22 and today set a new school record for threes made in a season. NAU made it interesting, but in the end, Queens was too good. Royals take this one 85-78. They'll take on Cleveland tomorrow in the next round. It was a big week overall for basketball in this area. In addition to the Black College Invitational Championship, we also had a cool event for some of the best up-and-coming high school basketball players in the state. Chambers stars Marcus Kerr and Taurus Bowie were the headline names at the first ever Business of Basketball Showcase Invitational Thursday. The event aimed to provide additional exposure for the players as well as educate them on making smart financial decisions as they prepare to take their games to the highest level.
The game's changing, NIL, brands, social media. It's a lot of leadership roles that's changing in the business of basketball. And I just wanted to use this game to only, put some financial literacy out there, but also showcase some talent.
And that they did, and I think we can all agree there is no such thing as too much basketball in March.
Absolutely.
Spring practice for college football is now in full swing across the state.
And that includes over in Boone. App State suiting up for another season in the Sun Belt Conference. However, this year it's under a whole new regime. Charlotte Sports Live's Casey Funderburg was at practice and joins us now with an inside look.
App State resumed football practice this week after taking a week off for spring break. And it was also the second week of practice under new head coach Dal Loggins, who took over the program after the team's first losing record since 1993.
We wanted to be able to get the guys to be able to practice one time, get all the anxiety out. So once they got back from spring break, they would know what practice was going to look like. The nerves will be down a little bit. It's a new staff, new expectations.
Coach Loggins is taking over an App State program who had their first losing record in 2024 since 1993.
We want to be a team that attacks the work, and we know we have a lot of work to do here. Obviously, when you take over a new program, it's probably because things didn't go well before you.
Loggins previously spent 2 seasons at South Carolina as offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach, and before coming to the college ranks, spent 17 seasons in the NFL.
As we start to recruit and get to build this program a little bit, we'll recruit more to our style of offense and how we're going to build it. But at this point, we're just trying to find what we have and how to use it best.
He was also a big part of the development of Panthers wide receiver Xavier Legette, who was a first-round draft pick from South Carolina in 2024. For Charlotte natives Ethan Johnson and Ovarion Cole, starting the season close to home gets them excited for what's to come in this new era of Mountaineer football.
The Panthers, that's my team, so being able to play there is pretty cool. I remember my senior year, they played ECU there, so I was able to watch that game. So it's pretty special to be able to play in that game. I grew up in Charlotte, and then we playing in the Panthers in the Bank of America Stadium, so I feel like it'd be like a dream.
Players are also excited for the potential they can have under this new style of football.
Considering the NFL is the end goal, I would say it's a big deal to me. So just to have those type of coaches to come in and coach, and they know what it takes to get to the NFL. So it's just nice to have.
The Mountaineers will open the 2025 season against the Charlotte 49ers in Bank of America Stadium. But before App State gets to that first game of the season, Coach Loggins says he's more concerned about his next practice. He said, we don't even have a depth chart yet, but once they get to August, they'll be excited to open the season in the Queen City.
Appreciate it, Casey. And like you mentioned, Charlotte 49ers also opening up spring practice this week with a new head coach as well. We'll check in with the Niners Nation coming up on CSL.
Plus, more on those heated comments made by UConn head coach Dan Hurley that only Charlotte Sports Live got on camera. More CSL in 2.
That's the video that's gone viral online of UConn head coach Dan Hurley voicing his displeasure with the referees and the Huskies' loss to the #1 ranked Florida Gators. Charlotte Sports Live's own Joey Ellis took that video and then was confronted by UConn Director of Communications Bobby Mullen. Mullen asked for that video that had gone viral to be removed. He then threatened Joey, saying he would, quote, ruin his life if he didn't. This was heard by multiple other reporters and staff on hand. Our management asked Mullen for a statement on the incident, and here's what he said. The lasting image of Coach Hurley leaving the court should have been his walking off the court arm in arm with the seniors, overwhelmed with emotion. Instead, a reporter who was in an area he should not have been recorded on his cell phone a private comment made to members of another coaching staff, end quote. Charlotte Sports Live and Queen City News stand by Joey Ellis's reporting. In other basketball news tonight, it's official. McNeese's Will Wade is NC State's next men's basketball head coach. The news comes a day after Wade's McNeese team lost to Purdue in the second round of the NCAA tournament. Now, before taking over that program in South Louisiana, Wade was the head coach at another program about a few hours east at LSU for 5 seasons, leading the Tigers to 3 out of 4 NCAA tournaments, including the program's first ever SEC regular season title. NC State went 12-19 this season under Kevin Keatts, just a year removed from going to the Final Four.
All right, back to the track. It was a pretty successful weekend for Kyle Larson as he won 2 of the 3 National Series races. On top of that, he almost won Saturday's Xfinity competition. Jeff Patterson recaps today's Straight Talk Wireless 400.
Kyle Larson dominated race weekend here at Homestead. He won the truck race on Friday night. He dominated the Xfinity race on Saturday before losing after a late race caution. Today, he had to battle his way through the pack for an impressive Cup Series win.
At the start of the race, Ryan Blaney had the car to beat.
Blaney goes to the front.
Blaney took the lead on lap 8, and it didn't look like anyone could pass him as Blaney wins stage 1.
Ryan Blaney will get the stage win.
Kyle Larson was one of the last cars to pit in stage 1, and it's a strategy that worked well on a track where tire management is crucial. But an incident in the pit nearly ended Larson's day. Josh Berry runs into Larson, then bounces off of Joey Logano, who spins into his pit. Berry hit Larson hard enough to put a hole into the quarter panel of his car. But at this point, Ryan Blaney is still dominating the race. That is, until lap 207.
Ryan Blaney's engine goes up in smoke.
Blaney's car blew up. The second time of the season he's lost an engine. Fire and smoke come out of the side of the 12 car, ending the day for Blaney. That opens the door for Larson, who chases down Bubba Wallace, then Alex Bowman, and then takes the lead on lap 261 and never gives it up, taking his second win of the weekend.
It's just been a fun weekend. Obviously, wish I could have gotten that win last night, but it's part of racing. But yeah, just a strong weekend. Today's race was just super tough and challenging.
Larson knew from the start it would be a battle, starting with that bump on pit row and wondering how his car would perform after that.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. I'm glad he got me there and not in the wheel, because that probably would have, hurt our day a lot. But yeah, I don't know, our car's got a lot of battle scars on it.
In addition to the hole on the left side, his Chevy has scars on the right side from rubbing the wall, as Larson rode the high line to lead the most laps of the weekend.
That line works out for me, and just try to commit to it, and then you hope it pays off.
For Larson and his Hendrick team, the battle scars and the fight to get the win were worth it.
Challenging win, probably one of the coolest ones of my Cup career to this point, and yeah, just happy to get it.
This was Larson's first Cup win of the season. From here, it's off to Martinsville for these drivers and more bumps and bruises on their cars on the short track. In Homestead, I'm Jeff Patterson.
Justin Allgaier is getting quite comfortable in victory lane. Up next, we're going one-on-one with the Xfinity winner at Homestead.
The big thing for me in the fall is you have your biggest jump from game 1 to game 2. All right, and we need to have a big jump from Tuesday's practice to Thursday.
A brand new era in Charlotte 49ers football started this past week, and Tim Albin is already setting expectations. Joey Ellis has a story from week 1 of spring ball coming up next on CSL. Back on CSL, checking in with the Xfinity Series, Justin Allgaier has made victory lane his second home as of late, earning a second straight Xfinity win Saturday at Homestead. The Junior Motorsports driver took the lead on the final lap of overtime and held off his former teammate Sam Mayer for the win down into 3:05. And Allgaier is now the first Xfinity Series driver with multiple wins in 2025 and now takes a 29-point lead in the championship standings over Meyer. He's also the first Xfinity driver this season to have multiple one-on-ones with us in victory lane. He talked with Jeff Patterson after Saturday's finish.
I mean, what a win. What just goes to show you never know in racing. You start out with a tough day with the penalty, had to fight your way back up the track. Take me through that mentally.
Yeah, I mean, I think that racing is so in the moment, right? You have to live in the moment, and when the team told me that we had a penalty, I sank in my seat, right? Because you know how hard it is to pass this racetrack and just making time up through the field, and the team never gave up. And when you have a team that rallies behind you and pushes you to be better, constantly on the radio, just telling me what I needed to do, it makes all the difference in the world. And when we were able to drive our way back inside the top 10 pretty easily, I knew we had a really fast Chevrolet, but you just never know, right? And that last restart came down. What an experience, because when the caution came out, I was actually sad. We were going to run fourth right there. Would have been a career best finish for me here at Homestead, Miami. And I was pretty upset, right? And to be able to have the pit stop that we did, to come out in the position we did, and then ultimately make the moves that we made, it was so awesome. So cannot say thank you enough to this team, everybody that's part of it. To get Trademark Nitrogen, their first win here, everybody at Brandt, it's special, and it means a lot to not only myself, but everybody that works on this race car.
But a veteran move to be able to work your way through the field and get to the front, but not spend all of your tires. I mean, that shows your level of experience and expertise in this.
Yeah, I mean, just coming here for a long time, and I've made those mistakes over and over again. And the last 2 weeks have been very disciplined, right? Very discipline heavy. Kyle Larson was the best car today, no doubt. And his strength was that long run. And so, being able to have an opportunity to race heads up with him on a short run, I knew that helped us. But you never know. I mean, lane choice even. The 41 had the opportunity to take the front row and chose to pick third. And that was really the difference maker for all of us. So, again, I'm proud of our team. This sport, I might stand up here and get all the glory for it, but everybody that's a part of this race team is really what fuels us to be able to go do this. And to win the Dash for Cash, too. Xfinity does a lot for this sport, and never my wildest dreams that I expect to win it today. So really, really special there. It's been a lot of fun.
100,000 ain't bad, but take me through that restart, because there was some moving around going on. So what happened for you?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing was Kyle waited a little bit longer in the box to go, which is, as the leader, that's your choice, right? And I actually think that benefited us, because the 41 got antsy running the back of him, and it just immediately spun the tires on the 40 or on the 17, and really effectively kind of took him out of having an opportunity to race for it. Then it put the 21 and really the 00 kind of in the catbird seat to be able to try to race it out. I got a great run to be able to get even beside the 21, and those guys have. I mean, Austin and I have raced a lot, over the years, and I knew that we could race hard, but we could race with respect, and we just a little bit better stick. Jim did a great job with air pressure on that last stop. I knew when we made the green flag pit stop, the set of tires that we had and the air pressure and chassis adjustment, that we were going to be in great shape on that short run. You just don't know how good of shape. And to see the speed that we had over those last few laps was really cool.
Exciting for us to see Brandt, who owns part of the Lightning,
yes.
Here in Winter Circle, right?
Yes.
So.
It's been special. We got to do an event earlier this year promoting the Daytona 500 with the Tampa Bay Lightning. Been my team for a number of years now, and really, really cool for Brandt to be part of Tampa Bay Lightning, to get the win here, being in Florida, obviously not in Tampa, but it's been really cool, and I cheer on Tampa whenever we're not racing, and I still cheer them on even when we are racing, but cheer on Tampa whenever we can, and we'll hopefully get to more games as the future goes on.
Congrats again to Justin Allgaier on the win. Well, it's a beautiful time of the year. Baseball starting back up. We're now in the throes of March Madness, and as of this past week, football is back as well. Hard to believe, but all across the country, spring football started on college campuses for at least the next 5 weeks, Mike.
Yeah, including on the campus of UNC Charlotte, ushering in a brand new chapter in program history. Joey Ellis was there as Niners practice officially began.
I'm coaching ball, and I do it for a living, not a living. And I just love watching the guys and the growth. But there's a lot of smiles today. You as a coach, you're worried about going against each other and you're just in helmets, and you know there's that fine line. But really for the first day, the guys responded well, and I'm in a good place. I'm in my happy place.
Well, for the third time in as many years, Charlotte will open this season with a new quarterback. So in comes North Carolina transfer Connor Harrell and Duke transfer Grayson Loftus. JUCO transfer Zach Wilkie comes in as maybe the biggest wild card, all in a quarterback room certainly filled with potential.
Knock on wood, I don't know if we had a turnover today. Isn't that good? TFC, Charlotte doesn't beat Charlotte. So I got to watch the film. I want great competition. We want leadership, and it's going to be an ongoing battle. It should be an interesting one.
So far, I think that's going to be a tough group, real competitive group. You know, I played with Connor before, so I got to see him in action. I haven't got to see these other two guys, so I'm still getting to learn them. But so far, I feel like it's going to be very competitive on that side of the ball.
Defensively, more production returns on that side of the ball. However, the pass rush was a glaring issue a season ago. Elbin knows that and is doing whatever he can to improve that side of the ball.
The big challenge for our defensive staff, we've got a great group, some great minds. Pick 4 or 5 things. It's going to be really challenging for those guys to pick the best 4 or 5 things that fits our personnel. That's going to be my job to either pull back the reins or, hey, hit the brakes on some things.
Well, this is a program that's last winning season came back in 2019. This is a staff that's certainly hungry to instill a new culture with players more than ready to win.
This city needs a championship. This city needs a good football team, and we know that. I think everybody has taken a personal right to go and work out and all that good stuff, do the extra stuff. If you're not doing more, you're doing less. I think these guys are extremely hungry. They're ready to go win something for Charlotte. There's a lot of people here that want to back us up. All we got to do is win some games.
All righty, 3 have tried. All have failed to beat Charlotte FC at home. Coming up next, we'll hear from the Crown and why teams just can't seem to beat them at the bank.
Plus, it's opening night Friday for the Charlotte Knights. We got a season preview just ahead right here on Charlotte Sports Live.
Back on CSL, the floodgates opened for Charlotte FC last night in their 4-1 home victory over San Jose. Midfielder Pet Beal led Charlotte with a goal and 2 assists as the Crown moved to 3-0 at home this season. Ashley Westwood, Brent Ronico, and Kerwin Vargas also got the score sheet for Charlotte. Afterwards, head coach Dean Smith was very happy.
Thought we were really good in understanding tactically what we needed to do, because they made it hard with their man-to-man play without the ball, so you had to get it up, back and through, and I thought we did that really well at times.
Up next for the Crown is a road game in Colorado to face the Rapids this coming Saturday. Spring is in the air, and that means it is game week for the Charlotte Knights.
Yeah, they open up the 2025 this season under the lights at Truist Field. And our Casey Vunberg gives us a preview of some of the big storylines and big names to watch for entering the season.
Well, not long from now, we'll get to hear the crack of a bat coming from Truist Field because the Charlotte Knights are back at it in the Queen City. And fans will also have an opportunity to see the new Knights manager, Sergio Santos. Santos is no stranger to Charlotte. In 2009, he pitched for the Charlotte Knights. They went on to pitch for the White Sox in 2010, before coming to the coaching ranks. Along with Santos, fans will see a tougher version of Knights baseball.
I think we're going to have a very competitive team. Like I always say, I can't guarantee the number of wins we're going to have, but what I can guarantee is the style of baseball we're going to play, which is exciting. We're going to kind of be gritty and grindy, and I'm working closely with Will Venable, and we have the real possibility of having a lot of guys on our Charlotte Knight team that'll be going up to Chicago and hopefully helping there.
Even though the number of wins aren't promised, winning is something Santos knows how to do. He led the White Sox AA affiliate, the Birmingham Barons, to a Southern League championship in 2024.
Bringing that same winning mentality to Charlotte, obviously player development is first, but wins are important too, and they're at that age where they're just on the cusp of being in the big leagues, and so we want to perform well and get those W's, and hopefully that'll correlate to having a winning organization.
Some of the top prospects for the Knights are catcher Kyle Teal, shortstop Colson Montgomery, and catcher Edgar Cuero. Colson Montgomery widely ranked among the MLB's top 100 prospects, but back spasms in the spring limited his plate appearances. Teal was part of the Garrett Crochet trade with the Boston Red Sox and had 21 plate appearances in spring training. He's ranked as the team's number 2 prospect. Edgar Cuero had a combined 16 home runs and 70 RBIs for Double and AAA in 2024. He's the number 6 prospect for the White Sox. Opening day for the Knights comes on Friday, where Charlotte will be playing host to Gwinnett for a weekend series.
Casey, thank you so much. We'll return with Crown. Shelby Houlihan's not getting one. but she did get a silver medal at today's World Indoor Championships. It was her big return race following a ban from the big stage after she tested positive for performance-enhancing drug that she says was caused by a tainted burrito. Abe, I didn't know they sold those at Chipotle.
Yeah, I was not sure about those either.
CSL's back in 2.
Back here to wrap up the hour with our QC crowns like we always do. Just one to give out tonight. Mike, who's getting it?
Yeah, we're going to give ours to the Florida men's basketball team. Now, I know they're a number 1 seed, but anytime you take down a 2-time defending champ, to me that is crown worthy. The Gators dethroned UConn today in second round play, beating them in Raleigh 77-75. Now, Gabe, I know we talked about how the fact there's only one ACC team left, but there are 7 SEC teams at this point. I mean, that's ridiculous. They're the basketball conference now.
Absolutely. I mean, it was like just seeing that for football, their dominant run. It's like, hey, we can get it done in both sports as well. I mean, just incredible, just how far the conference has come, especially with the expansion as well. But there's a lot of teams hooping. I mean, Walter Clayton, Florida, they look really, really good too.
How does your bracket look right now?
Not the best. All my Final Four teams are left, but the road to get there not that great.
I had St. John's. That's not happening anymore.
That's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough. For Michael said, I'm Gabe McDonald. Appreciate you sticking to us for the full hour. See you again tomorrow night. Good night, guys.